welcome to Talon Talks. You may have noticed some familiar faces here.
I was in Eagle Eye News last year, now I'm just the editor. My name is Asha Harrow. I'm a junior and I'm graduating next year in the class of 2019.
I'm Brennan, and I do stuff around the school. Just kidding, no I don't. I'm also graduating with Asha in 2019.
We're all graduating
Yeah,
next
we're
year.
all
Every
juniors.
single person in this room, Lauren, Raymond, Braden, Dominic, we're all graduating
All the people
next
behind
year.
the scenes,
Behind the scenes, guys.
plus Dominic, and to Dom.
Ready to graduate.
Okay, let's continue.
My name is Norhan. I am one of the co-producers, directors. I also write the scripts and manage all the reporters for Eagle Eye News. So
I do the
like
editing
me.
for the Eagle Eye News.
Yeah.
Sasha edits.
whatever you see is our product and reporters,
pretty
of
bad.
course.
That's fine.
So in this segment, we basically are more creative. We're not really limited on time. This is just really for you guys to watch because you love us, we love you, and we want to get you the
This
the
school
news
is a
you deserve.
family.
Subscribe.
Familia.
Also, if you have any clever ideas for our name, comment. Whoever we like will become our new name, I guess.
And we'll feature you in a video.
Mhm.
And I'll give you a piece of candy.
Candy.
It'll be from my van though. You have to meet me outside after school.
Don't say that. Okay,
Okay.
just continue.
Anyway, so for this week's episode, our theme is going to be on the student body. Okay, so our first story will be talking about the recent 8th grade trip. So recently, 8th graders went to Disneyland, for their 8th grade trip and whatever. And upon returning, SSA has discovered that we are now on the Disneyland watch list. And on top of that, 8th graders are no longer able to go to the Disneyland trip, and the senior trip to Disneyland is also in jeopardy. So, any opinions on this, guys?
Well, the 8th graders need to know, exactly what they did to not only the classes before them, but the classes ahead of them. They literally screwed up so many privileges that the classes before them, the classes behind them aren't even able to experience. Like the upcoming 8th graders, the 7th graders now, aren't able to do this anymore because they decided to jump off of rides and get caught doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and it really jeopardizes the whole situation, even for seniors and rising seniors, because our senior class wanted to go to Disneyland for our senior trip, and now we might not be able to because the school is literally on a watch list for Disneyland. We might not be able to go because we are as a senior trip, you're affiliated with the school, and that us going with the school is they're like, oh, we remember
let's try
you.
staying.
Was thinking is that they kind of took advantage of Miss B. Miss B there's many phenomenal teachers here. Miss B happens to be one of those phenomenal teachers. She cares so much about her students, and not that you can care too much about students, but she puts in all of her time for her students, whether or not it comes to ASL, her history classes, her middle schoolers, her high schoolers, her basketball teams, just every single thing that she does for our school makes such a big impact around us, and people don't really realize it and appreciate it, and they just went and totally took advantage of her for reasons that I don't know why. Don't be making silly decisions like that. That trip is her highlight of the year. She puts in so much hard work and dedication to take these students on that trip, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. Norhan, back to you.
Thank you, Sasha. Okay, so obviously, I guess what we really want to say to the 8th graders who are watching this is please be more considerate of your actions and think how they hurt others. So moving
not
on
only
to
the
our
8th graders, but also any students.
Yeah.
Just watch your actions, watch your consequences. You shouldn't be doing stupid, dumb stuff like that, and if you do, leave it out of school. Don't bring school into it. Don't bring people into it. Your actions shouldn't have to affect others, but that's the way the world works, so don't let it affect others in school, because school is a big part of your life. Don't
Okay,
go mess
so
up.
moving on to our next story.
Some clubs here at SSA allow students to lead and almost govern themselves, while others are much more closely monitored by teachers or even external monitors or mentors. So we are just going to talk about what are the benefits and drawbacks of students versus adult official leadership. For example, there's film club versus Crush 101.
10-11.
1011.
Yeah, here you go.
So no.
Stop.
Continue.
Press drop out right there.
Norhan, what's your input on this?
I
Yes,
honestly
yes.
feel like it really depends on the student body. Ray, you want to
Yes.
join us?
Yeah, because this is
Yeah.
I can add value about crush.
Okay.
One.
So So joining us here is reporter Raymond Ortiz.
Alright. My opinion on this is that, well, like I saw problems with Crush is, a lot of the mentors, they don't exactly take, I mean, at least last year, I don't know about this year, but last year, the mentors were something different, and I know a lot of students have problems because it almost seemed like some students were being favored than others, but I mean, last year it was a smaller club, so it ran kind of a lot smoother because everyone kind of had something to do and everything got done. So it's a lot of control by the students. We were the ones who put in the hours. So I mean, I think students kind of running the clubs, it provides more motivation for the students to actually do something rather than an adult standing there and being like, hey, you need to do this. You need to do this, you need to do this. But if students know like, okay, these are things I have to do, and if just an adult was there just kind of watching them, the club runs a lot smoother. That's how it was last year with Crush. This year, I don't know, but I've heard already a lot of complaints and a lot of people are quitting, dropping out because of just how some of the past mentors were and just how it's kind of being run and how sometimes it's not fair. So, I mean, I think with adults being in charge of it, it doesn't exactly always lead to fairness. But with students in charge of it, they kind of are able to take control of their own situation.
I definitely agree with you when it comes to basketball. I don't know if you consider that a club. I do, sport. But when it comes to at least my basketball team, Miss B, our coach, she gives us some sort of discipline, but when it comes to like getting ourselves in check, like changing out, getting ready, being there on time for a game, it all has to be up to us. The captains, Andrea and I, we have to like try and find a way to make basketball practice and even games flow. She's there for guidance, she's there to help us, she's there to like yell at us, that's what coaches are there for, to teach you, help you grow and become better. But I personally don't think that a club or an extracurricular activity that's completely controlled and run by an adult or like a higher figurity would be better, especially like when you're in high school, maybe middle school, yes, because you're still growing, you're still learning what like self-guidance is, but like by the time you become a freshman and like even when you're older, sophomore, junior, senior, you need to know how to handle things on your own, because when you go to college, your professors aren't going to be like telling you like don't forget to do this, don't forget to do this, don't forget you have a test this day. Like you have to schedule everything yourself, you have to write everything down yourself, you have to remind yourself that you have deadlines to do, and you just need to learn how to control what you're doing in your
life.
life.
I'm gonna stop you there, Zasha.
Like,
so it seems like we all have like a general agreement, but for the sake of argument,
there has to be a
to,
fine line with it though.
But
so
Wait, hold up.
let's
Can I
take.
squeeze out really quick.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. Goodbye.
Bye, Zasha.
Bye.
why?
It's me, Zasha.
Hey guys, I
Back
really
again.
want to keep writing.
Zasha, you're back.
I just
Yeah,
really
you
keep
know.
writing. I love writing.
You know,
It's me, everybody.
Okay, so
everybody was kung fu fighting.
everybody, this is our cameraman, Brayden. He probably
No, this is
records-
Zasha Ahero. What
Oh,
are you
sorry,
doing?
it's Zasha Hero.
I like horses.
Sorry.
I like horses, and I go to UCLA.
So back to what I was saying.
She's going to the Obey.
I am going
Oh,
to
sorry,
She's
Lauren.
living with
Alright, you
us.
just-
Okay, so going back to the previous discussion, so for the sake of argument, let's bring out headline news last year. So I know a lot of you guys were not there last year, so I'm just going to
I
explain it
was
for
there
you.
a lot.
Yeah, you were there a lot.
3 out of the 4 weren't actually.
So, but you were in recycling a lot too.
But I spent
Yeah.
most of academic enrichment during Eagle Eye News time with you
So-
guys.
But you are part of
The
it.
way the club ran was that Miss Watson would tell us her stories and she would tell us the rules. Like every week it's like, okay guys, I want you to cover this, this, and this. Marielle, you are editing and writing script. Everybody else are reporters. Arheo, your cameraman. And there was for sure like a teacher there who was controlling the environment. But I think the problem lies less with the mentors, kind of like in Crush, but more on the student body.
Yeah.
Because I know this year for Eagle Eye News, I don't need to offend anybody who's watching this, but a lot of people are not really interested in journalism, so they're not really motivated to do the work. While as last year, there was people who did want to go out and find stories, they wanted to report on things, and it was just like, even though it's a small group, it's like we were all like wanting to do it. Well, this year it's like it's bigger, which should be better. Like the job should be more spread out and more evenly distributed, but that's not the case. So
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think there also needs to be like there kind of needs to be like everyone needs to be kind of on the same page. Like last year, same thing with Crush and Elandies. Last year, they're both small, but it was really efficient. Everything got done because you guys really wanted to do it. And I see when there's clubs that get a lot more people and a lot more members in it, it kind of messes things up because you're so used to it being one way and you're so used to how certain things run that eventually when a club gets a lot of people, either the people are just doing it to be carried by the other members in the team, you know, or just because it's like, well, it's either this or be in a PE class full of 50. So I'd rather just do this. So I think it's kind of almost like it's like an alternative that people don't really want to do. So when someone's not interested in doing it, it brings down the club value a lot because it's like, all right, last year we were this efficient. Last year we got all these videos out, or last year we won these regionals and we did all these things. But then a year later, when there's 40 plus members in both clubs, you know, it's like, well, it should be more efficient, right? But because half the people in that club aren't in the club because they want to, but just because it was an alternative, it doesn't exactly help, you know. And then that requires whoever is in charge of the club to kind of be a little bit more strict and to have a lot more rules and to kind of be just a lot more disciplinary than it was the year before. And that also has an effect on the club too, because it's like we no longer can have fun. It makes it no fun when everyone's being yelled at, when everyone's being told, okay, you can't do this. If you don't do this, you can't do anything else. You know, when it becomes from something that's fun to do to something that's like, if you don't do it, you're in trouble, it kind of messes up the flow of the group too, I think.
Yeah, and I think one of the big determining factors in something like this, where it's mentor versus student driven, however you want to visualize that, is I think it is depending on what the club's objective is and what they're trying to accomplish. And I think that's the big difference between like our example film club and Crush's film club is mostly recreational. I believe some members have produced their own film, but for the most part, it's not there's not a competition for it like there is for Crush. And so I think that's a big determining factor in what kind of leadership needs to be there and how that can be run. And so I think, kind of like with what Raymond is saying, that people have to be stricter when there's a goal to accomplish, and that's when a mentor really is beneficial.
There also has to be a line drawn, because you can't have, like, I'm gonna say with basketball this year, I don't think there was much of like a drive to go, because we hardly had anyone go to practice, and I'm guilty of this myself, because we didn't have someone out there like making us go to practice. Like Simmons was a good coach, and Simmons gave us drills and whatnot, but he wasn't making you do it. He wasn't like a force telling you to go to practice. You need to go, otherwise you're not gonna play. He was more like, you can go if you want. I'm still gonna play whoever I think should play. So, and then that like brings down the team, because people feel like, oh, I'm gonna play no matter what, so I'm not gonna go to practice. And then, and that's like, obviously that's an extreme example where you have a mentor and they just really don't care. They're letting like the players or the students drive it. But I still think that there needs to be at least a little bit of a line to where your mentor, your coach has enough rules to where you understand, and they're like enough of a force for you to respect, but like the players or the students, people in the club, still have enough leeway to do what they want and have fun. Dom's gonna add some input.
So here is another reporter, Dominic Clark.
I just have one thing to say. I also think respect, what Brennan said, plays a big factor in how much control someone has over you, because you feel like you don't want to let that person down. I'll say this one thing, all right? Humphrey's class is a mess, all right? But we always get stuff done because
You respect them as a
it's
teacher.
weird because I'm more talkative in Humphrey's class than I am in a lot of classes, and I'm talkative in pretty much every class I'm in. But for some reason, it's like his has more of an effect on me than literally any other teacher, because I respect Humphrey. So if
Not saying that he doesn't respect all the other teachers.
no, I respect all my teachers.
Just
but
saying that
he's
Humphrey's class has that respect.
He's like it's just so weird how
you feel personal connection with the person that is in charge of whatever is happening or whatever, and that can have a profound effect on how much production gets done, the quality of whatever's happening, be it in sports or a club or, you know, a class. So if the person who's in charge is just someone who's like, oh, I'm in charge because I say so, then everyone's gonna be like, all right, I don't care. And I'm at the end of the day, they're just gonna be there for themselves and, you know, whatever. They don't care if they disappoint the person who's in charge, but, you know, if you actually respect the person who's in charge, then you care about disappointing that person. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So going on to another story.
The past senior classes, let's say, have not meshed well together, so to speak. Like, everyone has their own different groups. Not everyone is together in a family. Like, we all want to be at Sonoran Science Academy because we have a small school. Everyone should know each other. Everyone should be friends. And I don't know.
Just from hearing from what a lot of teachers have said, they say that a big factor that kind of goes into it is a respect for the teachers and respect for getting stuff done. Like, I know,
Kind of like what Dom said.
for like I'm saying, well, like with, not to offend any seniors right now, but the senior class this year, I've heard from Miss Watson, your guys' leader.
They're in the pack, like Miss Watson, your leader, the leader of the pack for the senior grade.
So I mean, like the person that like you guys should want to impress and want to obey, because she's helping y'all go on your trips and do all these things. She said that you guys haven't exactly been pulling your weight. There's still a handful of y'all that don't have your baby pictures or your senior quotes in, or your fees in, or your fees for your cap and gowns in. So there's a lot of things that don't take into play. And it's because it's almost like a lack of respect. And I've heard that from teachers. That's just not me making it up. I've heard that from teachers themselves. They say that something that a lot of the past senior classes don't have that respect for teachers. They don't have that respect or that want to get something done. It's like, well, I'm a senior, so
You can do whatever.
I'm out of here anyway. So if I skip 6 classes, sleep through most of them, and then, you know.
Okay, so something you guys might not have known is that the senior group had 2 ideas for a t-shirt. One of them is the one they have right now. It's a crown that says "We Reign Supreme." The other one had an infinity logo, and it was a joke between half of the senior class. And at first, it went from the infinity shirt to the crown back to the infinity shirt. And a lot of the times, the seniors would go up to Ms. Watson and be like, "Hey, this is not the shirt everybody wants. Can we do like another voting?" And this happened for like most of semester 1 until like Ms. Watson's like, "I had enough. We're doing the crown. Take it or leave it."
And I think that's the problem with it, is that when classes can agree on something, and when everybody in the class or in your group essentially can agree on a simple thing, you know, it doesn't work. I mean, obviously there's gonna be those people that are just gonna vote for something else just to kind of be, I don't know the right word to say without being vulgar. To be just kind of
You're cursing less on here than you do normal Eagle Eye News.
They don't have a script.
Because we're a little
that's
pressed
why.
for time.
So
Yeah.
there's people that are gonna reject the idea just to be, but I mean, because I'm guilty of doing that myself. I do that all the time. But the point is that I don't know. I feel this is a message, I guess, for the upcoming classes, is that you guys need to find a way to unify your class. When you unify your class, things will run a lot smoother, and it'll just be a fun, I guess, experience. It'll just make it a lot easier than to worry about who's going to graduate, who's not going to graduate, who's going to turn in their dues, who's not turning in their dues, what fee do you have to cover for someone else. So just get your stuff together.
I really disagree with that. I don't think it's necessary at all to all agree, and I think that's really idealistic to say, get it together, everybody push forward. I mean, I'm not gonna agree with everybody just because we're in the same class.
No, I'm not meaning agree with everybody just because you're in the same class. I'm meaning get your stuff together. Like if you guys are voting on a shirt and there's everybody voted for these 2 options and there's one or the other and this one is getting the most votes, don't go and complain because the majority of everybody
It's not the shirt I wanted. I mean, no. Why are you promoting a hive mentality for the senior class? I mean, they're at the end of their time here. I think there should be a little more leniency when they've gotten here. As long as they're graduating,
But
I mean,
that's
why,
the
why are we
problem.
caring about this kind of stuff when they're done? I mean, leave them alone. They're pretty much out of here.
Well, no, we're just saying that the classes haven't been the same. Like Miss Watson said yesterday, her last class that she really enjoyed and that she really found that was great was 2013, because everybody got their stuff together. Everybody wanted to participate. Everybody respect. And I think that's the thing I'm trying to say is that if you don't have that respect between teacher and your work and just trying to get stuff done, because yes, it's your senior year, well, you should still want to get stuff done, you know? And the fact is that this senior class isn't doing that. This senior class doesn't have their baby. You see in the room, there's a list of them that don't have their baby pictures done.
So I think okay, so we come to a disagreement and we're a little pressed for time to kind of continue this forward. So Brennan.
It's the awkward moments.
Oh yeah,
That
awkward
was-
moments.
yeah.
We're doing that on here too. Dom and I are filming some awkward moments. You're gonna love them.
Especially from behind the scenes from the recording for Eagle Eye News.
You get to hear this guy swear.
I don't swear.
I am not keeping the swear words.
We're gonna have a little every time he swears.
A little like duck squeaking.
Ray just goes.
Yeah, pretty
But-
much. That's accurate.
Oh, it's
Our
actually
the little did
more
you know,
than
our
right.
next episode is gonna be
Yeah.
see how long he can swear in a.
On Monday, we will be having our first session from 8:15 a.m. to 10:50 a.m. with a 45-minute break, and then we will resume after that break and continue until 3:30 p.m. Wednesday will be a normal.
Our crush chairman.
Mr. Kolchak.
Oh, Mr. Kilchak is starting a music club where students can come and play, eat, and even record their music. This club provides students the opportunity to build their musical skills. We want to interview Mr. Kellick for more on this new club.
I'm kidding. Ahea.
Keep in mind, be kind, because bullying is mean and not to be seen.
The stuff that we added on here is on that SD card.
I'm just going to copy it down.
Dom, how do you feel right now?
Computer right now.
Okay.
Dom,
Feel fine.
And
you feel
Gabriel
fine?
needs it too.
How does the camera feel?
I don't know. It should be fine. Nothing happened to it. So
How does the camera feel, Braden?
feels fine.
it's fine. Nothing happened.
Is that why the lens is broke?
You're a little salty. Your lens ain't broke.
Salty for what? There's no evidence of anything, so nothing happened.
Security camera.
Yeah, there's security camera.
Oh, we should we can get that footage.
Security
Why
cameras.
do we need 2 security cameras in the library that's not operating?
It was for Doug Ducey.
Testing starts this week. Have fun, be safe, and don't forget to sleep.
Okay, guys, so that's
on.
it
That's
for
it for
Talon
this
Talks. If
week's
you have a better name, please
whatever thing
keep
we're
it in
doing.
thing. If you want us to talk about something else,
Yeah,
or
feel
not
free to
have-
submit ideas and topics.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
just comment down below and then
We want
one
this
of us
to
will
really
look at
be
it.
in almost a forum like thing where we discuss about up and coming like events and ideas and something that's going around within the school, within reason, of course. We want to be a kind of
because this right now it's allowing us to be a lot more creative, essentially, in what we talk about.
We have a
Yeah.
podcast.
instead of being as
I'm not
So
making a
if you
podcast.
notice, we don't
Rigorous.
have we don't have a script because we're now allowed to be a lot more creative with this kind of second channel. So whatever kind of idea or topics you guys want us to talk about, just comment them down below and we'll try to get to it next week.
So,
Peace out.
I hate
Please
myself
like,
for saying that.
subscribe,
I really do.
Subscribe.
That.
Subscribe. Or dislike.
I hate
You don't
myself
care.
for saying. Just comment down below and we'll check it out. I want to kill myself now.
why?
Comment down below for a chance to enter a free drawing.
Oh my
We're
god, you
not
want to
here-
know what the worst thing is when
drawing
people
for
are
Hydro
like,
Flask.
here, I left the link for you guys down below, and it's like one of those surveys.